Welcome back everyone, and today we are playing again on my new free-to-play account for this free-to-play account series where I'm basically making a new account here and going as far as I can into the game for 2024. And as you guys can see, I am on day 2 of this check-in event here, which is very nice, and she's very loud. But what we're looking here mostly from this check-in event is the gear. So on day 3 and then on day 5 I get 2 free sets of gear. This will make your units a lot more stronger, and it will be your first very powerful set of gear in the early mid game. And of course we have the holiday event check-in event where we're also getting more stuff, and of course we have the 5-star hero and artifact tickets that we have at the end of both of them. So pretty cool. Before we get started though, let's actually do my 10 summons here, because we do have an event going on. I get 11 summons actually. Hopefully I get something good. I don't really care what I get really. I just want new stuff. Okay, I do get Dominion, I guess, as a 4-star. Nothing really good from that, but we can do the regular 1-day summon here. Hopefully get something. It looks like it's a new artifact. What do we get? Daydream Joker. Perfect. This is a very powerful artifact. The best PvE artifact in the game. That's exactly what I actually wanted. It's very nice. But first things first, let's actually look at our team. So this is my PvE team here. I have Ross in the front. Then I have Spectre Tenebria as a damage dealer from Moonlight Blessing, which we'll talk about. Then we also have Free Spirital, which we'll also talk about, but she's a very powerful PvE unit that you get for free. And then we have Jet as our Soul Weaver here. Now, Jet, not the best unit here. You want to replace him eventually with a unit like Angelica or Montmorency or whatever Soul Weaver with healing you have. But because I don't have any other options, I'm using Jet. If you don't have Jet either, then you can use a unit like Aether that you get for free at the beginning, although he's not that great. He is usable. And yeah, this team will do well in the early game, I assume. Now, Ross is a very bad unit in the early game, but later on he will be very powerful, so I'm going to start leveling him early. But you can always replace him with another unit as well. Now, if you chose Masseria from the selective summon and are wondering why we aren't using her, it is because she's more of a mid-game, late-game unit, so we'll use her later on when she becomes more relevant. Now, for the Moonlight Blessing, like I said, Spectre Tenebria will be the best choice here, just because of the fact that she's the best unit for both PvE and PvP, and it's just the overall best pick, I'd say, so you definitely want to choose her. If you want other units, you can go for it, but I think Spectre Tenebria will be the best choice. Now, for Free Spirital, she is that unit I got, right? Everyone should get her for free here. You're going to see her from connections. I believe she opens up connections for you. All you guys have to do is clear 2-2, and you'll complete the connection and get her. And she is the best PvE unit you can get early game, because she starts off with all of her skills enhanced. Skills enhanced will cost you currency, which is very hard to get early game. But Free Spirital comes with everything maxed out and will give you extra damage. And she just does a ton of AoE damage, has healing. She also has a defense break, which will decrease the enemy's defense, which makes her a very powerful unit. You definitely want to get her to at least 5 stars ASAP, because she is insane for story mode early game, and you'll have to anyways for her Adventurer's Path questline. Yeah, like I said, for Adventurer's Path here, if you click this girl on the right, it'll take you to this questline. And of course, you want to start filling these out, and you'll see with Free Spirital, you'll eventually have to get her to level 50 to fill this out, all the way at the end here, and you'll get a ton of good stuff, including this good speed set that you'll get early game, which is level 70 gear, so you definitely want to complete this. And right now, it's really easy to do. You just have to click this, and you'll see Awaken Free Spirital to 2 stars is my next quest, so I'll just go there, and you just have to awaken. And I believe there's a tutorial here, I'm just going to skip it, but basically all you need is these runes, which you will get from Spirit Altar. Spirit Altar is available in the Battle tab. And by clicking Awaken, you'll see that you'll be able to actually make their yellow stars into orange, which will give them bonus stats. And at 3 stars Awakening, you'll see that your skill, one of your skills here, will get upgraded. And this is very important. This will make her S2 reset her cooldown, her S2's cooldown, her skill 2's cooldown when it defeats an enemy, which makes her a very good damage dealer for AoE. And because of that, we'll get this attack set here. And honestly, if I go to equipment here, I will just slap this onto Free Spirital, because she is the best damage dealer I have. So we'll just put this on. We'll put this on. I believe it was boots. But yeah, for gear, you just want to use gear you get from Adventurer's Path and from the check-in events, like I mentioned earlier. You do not want to enhance anything early game. It's not really worth it. You want to save these charms. What you actually want to do is use those charms and enhance the check-in event gear you get. I wouldn't really enhance anything below level 65. You can see the gear level here because you will replace them very quickly. And I'm going to put her on Daydream Joker because this is a very good artifact for PvE. It actually will do a ton of damage on bosses with a lot of max HP because it will do more damage against higher health bosses, like higher max health bosses. So yeah, like I said, Adventurer's Path, you definitely want to keep going through that. Not only is there free spirit areas, but there's also other ones here. Just by doing this, you can get a ton of stuff. Now, obviously, if there's one that says enhance equipment to +3, you can just enhance a piece to +3. You know, it doesn't really cost too much as long as you can progress through. Because later down the line, you'll start getting more stuff that you want to equip on your units. Even if you don't have a lot of enhanced gear, as long as you have like a set running on some like tanks, like HP set, health set here on your Ross in the front, or whatever you're using in the front line, or you are using your attack set gear on your damage dealers, then you should be good to go. And I just mentioned frontline here. Yes, whatever unit is in the front will have a higher chance to get hit. So if you have like Ross in the front, you want to make sure he is on your health set, your defense set, whatever you have, to make him stronger and tankier and bulkier so he doesn't die and he'll soak the damage for your team. But basically all you want to do in the early game is progress through story as much as you can. Now while you're going through the adventure mode, you're going to see these stars here. You want to try to complete all of these. It's pretty easy in the early game. You just have to have heroes survive. You definitely want to make sure to do it because you'll get sky stones, which is used for summoning and your currency. And you'll also fill out these quests on the bottom left, which will give you a ton of good materials. In the early game, it's not that great, but later on, once you do other harder chapters or episodes, you'll get a ton more stuff. And these are very important. You even get Covenant bookmarks, which are used to summon. And you basically just want to go and keep going until the end of the first episode here at chapter 10, East Terranor. Once you beat this boss here, you'll get a ton more stuff unlocked, and it's basically your first main goal in the early game. You want to progress the adventure as much as you can. Don't spread your resources, just stick to one team. While progressing though, you're going to get a ton of these Breath of Orbuses from those Chaos Gates. You're going to want to get as many as you can. And the first improvement I will do is on your Heart of Orbus. Now, it's the only one you can do but in the early game, but you definitely want to make sure you max this out ASAP because it will be your passive income in how you generate currency, gold, and sky stones. And honestly, for the first one, I like the Cradle of Life. That way when I'm sleeping, it doesn't max out. Realistically, this will cap out pretty fast because, yeah, you're going to have to sleep. So you definitely want to max this out, Cradle of Life. I'll probably do another one actually because I want to sleep a good 8 hours and not have to worry about this, right? So 2 here, but eventually you want to actually, you know, max everything here. And these will all cost a Breath of Orbus. Now you'll start to unlock other stuff. We'll talk about that later on. But first of all, you want to max out your Heart of Orbus. You won't be able to max out everything. I'll just talk about what you want to prioritize in a future video. Now, also while you're progressing through the adventure, what you guys want to actually do is progress through Abyss. Now, Abyss is available in the Battle tab, and you get 3 of these entry tickets a day. And you just want to go as far as you can because you can see even early on you get a ton of good gear. You can get very quickly level 57 gear, which is very nice. You get a ton of summons, you get Mulagora, which is used to skill enhance, which we'll talk about in a different video. You get a ton of good stuff here, just please do it, you'll get a ton of good rewards. And if you ever get stuck and you can't complete the floor, you can just Purify. Now what Purify does, it just gives you these rewards here. If you get stuck and you can't progress, just make sure you Purify. It'll use all your tickets for the day and give you gold and stigma. And this will not reset Abyss. Some people think in the early game this will reset you to floor 1. It does not. It will just keep you at the same floor. Abyss is a one-time thing, one-time rewards, so you won't be able to reset it. So you only want to press Purify if you get stuck and use your tickets for free currency. Alongside that, you want to also go through Abyss. Abyss will give you a ton of stuff as well. You get a ton of gear here. Basically, everything you're doing in this game is for gear. And even early on, you'll get a ton of good accessories, which are very hard to get. And just good purple gear as well, which can help you in the early game. And because you eventually want to make yourself way down to Royal Capital, as a Macallus of Cycle, and some of these harder labyrinths, because it just gives you really, really good gear. So you definitely want to make sure you're actually doing this every day as well. Now, the thing you guys are probably all wondering is, what about summoning? Now, summoning is a very important part of any gacha game, and just like Epic 7, it's how you get all of your units, your artifacts, and stuff like that. And there's always going to be a few rate-up banners, and this will last for about a week or 2 weeks, depending on if it's a limited or a new unit. If you guys are wondering if those are worth pulling for on these banners, you want to actually check out my videos on them. I always have videos released on every banner. There's a guaranteed summon after 120. These don't carry over, so if you guys go for these, you want to make sure you have enough summons saved up. Otherwise, you can also summon on the regular Covenant summons. Just keep in mind that the chance of a bad unit is honestly higher than a good unit because there's more useless units in the game than useful for early game players. So you want to keep that in mind. A lot of these units are PvP oriented and you're not going to really get into PvP in the early game. But the reason why you want to start summoning early is because there are going to be 2 good 3 stars, one in an artifact and one in a hero that you want to aim for. But I still recommend, even if you want them early on, that you actually wait for a good rate of banner, which should be coming in the near future. Now, the 3-star artifact you are looking for is Daydream Joker. Now, we saw it earlier in the video, but like I mentioned, it's very good for PvE. One of the best artifacts. You're going to need a ton of copies of these. So what you want to do is actually try to get these as much as you can. And while you're pulling for rate of banners, you'll be able to farm a ton of these just by luck and chance and just by hoping that you get these. Now, it's the 3-star, lowest grade in the game, so it's very common. You'll get eventually a ton of these, later on in the game. But you want to make sure you can get these ASAP in the early game because they are very, very powerful. Now, I highly recommend you actually have 3 copies of these before you start limit breaking. Limit breaking is kind of like raising the level cap by using the same copy. So you want to make sure you have 3 of these and you want to actually lock them. And then you can start upgrading them to, whatever limit break tier you want. Limit breaking here, if I can show you, do I have a copy here? Yes, I do. Limit breaking would be like this. But you see here, it's the same copy here. The limit break goes up by 1. This will increase the max enhance from 15 here to 18. So that's limit breaking. So you want to make sure you have 3 of these base copies first. And the 3-star unit we're looking for is Mui. So Mui is very important because he is not required, but very powerful for an area of content you'll be farming a lot in the early game to progress your account quickly, and that is Wyvern. It is where you'll be farming all of your gear in the early game to gear your characters. So Mui is very, very good there. He makes the gear requirements super low. He makes it very easy to farm. So this is a unit you also want to get while summoning for banners. But that pretty much sums up episode 2. I know I'm kind of speeding through things here and explaining a lot, but there's a lot to cover in the early game. I think it's very important to talk about these things, like at least briefly, because a lot of things people glance over as a newer player, they just don't really know about or don't really know to do. And that can really halt your account progression or slow it down, especially something like Abyss and Labyrinth. A lot of people don't know about that. You definitely want to make sure you're doing this as much as you can. And of course, another important thing is don't spread your resources too thin and don't waste your resources enhancing pretty early game gear. The only things you want to use them on are like the check-in gear, like I mentioned earlier, from the check-in rewards, or from the rewards that you get from Adventure's Path here that are very good, such as these level 70 pieces. Or you can enhance, crappy gear if you want to do like a very easy quest like enhance equipment to +3, because that doesn't really take too much investment. But hopefully this series is helping you guys out, and if you guys want to see more content like this, make sure you guys leave a like, and also comment down below what your starter team is if you are starting out.